Hello, my name is Dr. O'Hanlon. I'm here with Alex Kelly. Alex Kelly is my client today, and we are conducting structural family therapy. Alex, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Can we start out by you telling me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm over at UNF. I'm studying mechanical engineering. Just a big old nerd, always have been. Just really into how things work and playing guitar and everything.
Okay, with playing guitar, do you write your own music?
I like to write my own music a little bit every now and then. I like to mainly play stuff that all my favorite bands play and everything. I just like to keep it as a hobby.
Okay. I took a guitar class when I was in 12th grade. Although I do not play anymore, I do find it rather interesting. So can you give me a little bit of insight on why you're here today? What kind of problems are you facing in your life that you think that you need some help with?
um, so pretty much, I want to be able to um, reduce stress like around myself and my family. I
Okay.
kind of feel like um, if I don't meet this certain expectation of my parents, that I feel like they think less of me, and I think less of myself in that aspect. So, like recently, I failed a class. So this summer, I'm retaking Calculus 2, and it's kind of been pretty hard on me because I don't know. I just feel like I should know this stuff, and that if it were my parents, they would be going through it, and they would have got it done the first time, and that their work ethic would have just I don't know just would have prevailed, and they would have gotten a good grade. Whereas like it's my time to retake it.
Is failure not something that you're used to, or is that something that it's not okay within your family?
Kind of both. I really never failed class or anything like that before.
Okay.
Um, I never failed whenever I put like my heart and soul into something like that. I know it seems pretty hard to put your heart and soul into math, but
I mean, if you're passionate about it,
I'd rather make stuff move than just
but that's part of what you'll
yes.
be doing for
Exactly.
your work. Um, have your parents always been supportive of you in school, or
Yes, they've always been very supportive of me in school.
do you think that their expectations are like unreachable? Do you think that there's too much
That's the
to
thing. I don't
expect?
think they're that unreachable, but when I since I didn't reach them, I just feel like absolute crap. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like how can I not meet up to my parents' expectations? This is what I've lived up to my entire life, but I failed and I don't know why.
So you're feeling stressed out because you have too much stress from your parents on being successful in school, which will obviously lead into a job later on,
Right.
correct? Can you describe your relationship with your parents?
My parents, our relationship's pretty good and everything. Me and my mom are really close. My dad's pretty much like my best friend and everything. Um, they were both like previously married,
Okay.
and my dad's not technically my dad. He's my stepdad, but he's been my dad ever since I was 2. My mom's been married to him ever since I was 4,
Okay.
and
Do you still talk to your biological father?
no, I don't. My biological father, Larry, has not been in my life since I was in 4th grade,
Okay.
and yeah, he was just the worst.
What kind of feelings do you have towards him? Can you explain how you feel when someone brings up Larry?
I hate Larry. Larry is the absolute worst. pretty much Larry didn't do anything for himself. He always had stuff done for him.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, like, so pretty much when they were married, my mom's the one that got him his job and everything for his, career. Um, my mom kind of took care of me while Larry kind of went and did his own thing and didn't really care so much what was going on with me.
So you would say that the relationship between you and Larry as a child was not that it was non-existent, but it was not strong.
Exactly. It was very distant.
Your mom and you were close when you were young.
Exactly.
You're still close now. Is there any transition? So I'm assuming that from when you were younger, when Larry and your mother divorced, going into a new marriage, was that a transition that you have not successfully dealt with? Is there something that happened?
Well, basically, the biggest thing was when I was in grade school and everything, Larry would starve me. And so pretty much since my parents were already divorced by then, they had me split up, so I was every other weekend and on Wednesdays I would be over at his house, and I had acid reflux. So pretty much after a lot of meals I would throw up. So after a while they just didn't see the need to actually feed me.
And how old were you at this time?
This is when I was 8.
Wow. It's a lot to handle at any age, but especially a young age.
Right.
You can probably assume that that would have some sort of effects on you as you grew up.
Yeah, it got really worse during the summers because they thought it was a great idea to split up the summers evenly by doing a chunk of 6 weeks over at my mom's and then a chunk of 6 weeks over at Larry's.
And how far did Larry live from your stepdad and your mom? Same state?
Same state. He lives in a different county.
Okay.
It was long drives, really, really far away. Kind of felt like middle of nowhere, so almost kind of felt like he could get away with anything.
So you had a lot of feelings of being scared, obviously, when you were that young.
Right.
And eventually, did you stop going there, or?
Eventually we had the child services called on him.
Oh, okay.
After my stepmom beat me.
Wow.
So that happened in 4th grade, and after that, I've had no contact with him. I've done everything to be the opposite of him. I like to think I have a pretty good work ethic compared to how he didn't ever really do anything. And I've even changed my last name from his to technically my stepdad's.
So it's safe to assume that the things that happened with your dad at a young age have carried over into your adult life. So you have wanting to be a better person than he ever was, as far as he, didn't find his own work, he didn't have a good work ethic, and then you have your stepdad and your mom who are successful, do what they need to do on their own, and they get it done. So you kind of have two things weighing on you. You have your parents now, and then what happened to you in your past also weighing on your shoulders. So you feel like you constantly have to be successful.
Right. I don't have to only surpass Larry, but I feel like I have to surpass my parents as well and get to their level and then go beyond that. And I don't know, just put it's a lot of stress to get to that level.
So a technique that they like to use in structural family therapy is something called enactment. It's usually better when we have more than one person here, but just maybe to get an idea, like on a regular day when you go to your parents' house and you guys talk about school and work, can you maybe give me an idea of a conversation that that would make you feel stressed out in the way that you feel now? Like maybe a conversation like what your dad and your mom would say to you that is leading you to feel so stressed?
Yeah, it's more like the little snarky comments that come out of nowhere. So it'll be like, "Oh yeah, how was your day at work? Oh cool, yeah, it was good. So have you done your FAFSA? Have you done this? What about this? You got this set up already, right? Right? I'm just asking, just to check. I'm just checking in, okay?" And at that point, I'm just like, "Oh, now you're overwhelming me with all these little things that, sure, in their own time I can get done, but like throwing them all on the plate all at once is just giving like my brain an overload." I'm like, let me just take one thing at a time, work through that, get that. Once that's done, move on to the next, get it.
Now, when you actually have the conversation with your parents, do you tend to overreact? Do you like close yourself off from answering it? Do you get frustrated? Like, what happens in the conversation?
I'll get a little frustrated, but I'll pretty much just stay pretty calm. I'll just try to explain to them like, hold up. Yes, I know I'm gonna do this, but had other stuff. I work 30 hours a week as well as going to school full time. Give me a little bit of a break here. I don't have all the time in the world. I also got to study.
Do your parents ever offer help to you? I mean, obviously they support you and they want you to succeed, but do they ever offer help? I mean, I'm not sure what all they could do for you, but do they ever offer to help?
They've tried, but my classes are kind of like over their head.
Okay.
So like they couldn't really explain all these like calculus and physics classes that I'm taking, as well as like just going and seeing a tutor or seeing my teacher. So it's kind of hard for them to relate on that aspect, but like I can try to relate more to my dad because he kind of raised me getting into like cars and stuff like that and understanding all the mechanics behind that, and I can explain to him like the engineering behind all this stuff, and it'll make sense to him. He manages a bunch of engineers at his work and everything,
Okay.
and then doing some computer stuff, I can talk to my mom about that because she's a programmer and everything.
Um, so, can you maybe explain to me what are some goals that you're looking to get out of therapy?
Basically, out of therapy, I want to have my parents understand that they kind of overload me with all this stress and all these little things that just pile up all at once, and just understand that they just need to chill out and they need to let me have some time to myself and give me some time in between each one to get stuff done, and not just like pack on one after another and just like keep nagging me about it, and I just holding all these little tasks like over my head and just making me feel bad about it and everything, like. And then at the same time I want to be able to not pressure myself or not feel as pressured to get everything done exactly the way my parents would, because
You want to be your own person.
exactly.
So, I mean, you want to be successful like them, but you want to have your own identity.
Correct.
Okay. Are you open to seeking help yourself, like outside of your parents? If there's nothing that your parents can do to help manage your time and your tasks, are you ever open to looking outside of that? I mean, obviously you've come to me for, understanding all of the things that are going on, but what about outside help from that with school and other things?
Yes, I've reached out to some friends and everything, either friends at work or friends at school that are like in the same like major or taking the same classes and stuff like that. They've helped me out a bit and everything, but my schedule is just busy as far as taking all these classes and working all the time as well.
Do you think that if you took less classes that your parents would not be okay with that? Like maybe for your own sake and sanity, do you think that instead of maybe taking 3 or 4 classes a semester, you could take it down to 2 because you're also working full time, or was that just not
That's not really an option because I am on a track
for in the
success.
school
Yeah,
wise?
to get like my degree done with
Okay.
and just get it done.
And how long do you think that you have left?
I've got about 3 years left.
And that would give you a what kind of degree?
That would get a bachelor's in mechanical engineering,
Okay.
a bachelor's in science, I believe.
And this is definitely something that you want to do yourself. It's not
Oh yes.
something that you feel pressured from your parents to do.
Yes, I mean like basically on my dad's side, everybody on that side of the family is in one way or another worked at Anheuser-Busch,
Okay.
and I first thought maybe I wanted to work there, but I've been realizing lately that I don't want to follow my family's footsteps of always being there. I mean, like, my grandpa built the place, my dad is there now, one of my uncles works there.
Are they mechanical engineers there? Is that what
They're
they
not. They're not engineers, but what I would be doing would be the next level above them.
do? Okay.
So I feel like that'd be one way of like me trying to surpass them. And
Which is something that you would like to do.
yeah, I want to, I have goals. I want to, achieve, great things with my degree and everything. It's just a lot of work, and I don't think my parents are fully understanding that and everything.
Maybe they're just not aware.
Yeah.
They probably understand the things that you have going on, but do you think that better communication, maybe instead of like when you guys have those conversations about how stressed you are and they just nag and nag and nag you, if that's how you feel, about other things that you have to get done, do you maybe take a step back and explain to them instead of just saying, I'll do it, maybe explain to them how it makes you feel?
I mean, I've tried to and everything, but I feel like they've kind of tuned me out a bit. Like, maybe I need a third-person perspective on this versus, just my parents' shared perspective and versus my perspective. Maybe they could.
So do you think that maybe inviting them to therapy would be beneficial?
Yes, I think that would help out a lot. So, maybe you could explain, like, how I'm feeling, and we could all come to, a general consensus on how to deal with things and everything.
Well, what I would like to do is definitely invite them in, but not just for me to explain to them. If we can actually get you guys, how we are facing each other, if you guys actually talk to each other, maybe like in general conversation when you have with your dad, do you find that maybe when you try and put a defense up, like explain to them, does anybody cut you off, or like do they listen to what you say?
My dad sometimes cuts me off.
Does he just not want to hear the excuses?
Kind of, yes. He hears a lot of excuses from a lot of other people all the time, so he kind of doesn't have time for excuses with me. It's either him telling me to get something done or me telling him that I got something done as far as like schoolwork goes.
Maybe your dad would benefit from taking a step back and actually listening, because obviously if he just cuts you off, he'll never understand where you're coming from. So if you guys were actually face to face talking to each other, you could explain to them. I could tell them all day how you feel, but when you actually speak to him and he's, I would want to guide him not to cut you off, to listen to everything specifically. He would have to be more open about it. And then your mom would also be there. She could listen to the way, that you guys interact, and then maybe she would even get a different perspective.
Right.
And then we could, I would want to watch you guys and see, how you guys respond to each other. And in future sessions, I mean, we can always, we can add more. I mean, the more the family is here, the more members are here, the better, because even though you feel like you have the problem, obviously there are things in the structure of your family that pertain to this issue. So the things that happened with your dad when you were 8 years old and the treatment that you had are carrying into your adult life, and now how much your parents have put pressure on you to succeed and wanting to be better and better in all of these different aspects. It's weighing you down, and you need some help. But it's not just your problem. There's,
Right.
the way that other people act in your family contribute to the way that the other people respond. So the way that you act your dad will respond in one way, which will make your mom respond in one way, and it's just an effect.
Right.
So they have to also understand that just because you have an issue, it doesn't mean that it's your problem. Everyone
Right.
contributes to the problem. So I would definitely say that a goal would be to invite them to therapy, and just having you three, I think, would be great. If ever in the future, if we continue therapy, if you ever felt comfortable, would you ever feel comfortable having Larry here? I know that you have not spoken to him in this many years,
No,
but
that is not an option.
okay. You don't think that for any reason, if you maybe explained to him like you explained to your parents, maybe if it was just you and him?
There's nothing to explain. He knows what he did.
Okay.
He knows that he's wrong. He knows that I'm never talking to him again.
Now, has he ever tried to reach out to you since?
Nope. He has never tried to reach out to me since 4th grade.
And he has a new family as well.
Correct.
Okay. And where do they live?
I think,
If you know.
well, further south of here, like more in St. Johns County area.
And he has kids as well with his new wife?
His new wife had the kids before him.
Okay. Now, just to kind of go back into the situation from before, when you were younger, do you remember you said that they didn't feed you? Now, how was the treatment different with you and him compared to the kids, her kids, and the way that the parents treated them?
They treated them a lot better than me. They obviously were fed.
You have no idea why that they would do that to you.
They just had preferential treatment, all three of them. And then I was kind of like the black sheep, like I shouldn't be there. And they treated me as such, but for some reason they wanted me around and everything, so.
And you don't think at any time in your adult life you would ever want to reach out to him?
Nope.
No.
Never.
Okay. So, what do you think are some goals going forward from here that you want to start with?
Better communication with parents.
Okay.
Being able to not stress out as much and not have to think about what they would want, personally and everything.
What about sticking up for yourself when you feel attacked by them constantly telling you all of these things that you need to do?
Yes, that too. Being able to stand up for myself. Just, I don't know, trying to overall want to identify as my own person and not just as Austin's kid, Audrey's kid or anything like that.
So you want to be successful but independent in your own person.
Exactly.
Okay. So going forward, we'll invite your parents to the next session. We'll start with the issues that were presented today, and we'll go from there. And then we'll make goals going forward for each session. And I'm very confident that through all the talking and everything that we'll be able to resolve the conflict, and you will be a successful mechanical engineer. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope, not right now.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you
It was
very
great
much.
to meet you.
Good meeting you too,
And
Dr.
I will
Hanlon.
see you next time.
All right.
All right.